David Ball, welcome to FC St Helens. There's a lot to talk about today with this signing, but first of all, how are you? What have you been up to? I know you've been busy off the pitch recently.
No, yeah, really excited to be here. I've just been super busy with my job now outside of football and sort of the talent ID stuff that I do. So yes, it's that obviously that time of a year and full mode into that, and so sort of put my other stuff on the back burner. But I'm here today, and I'm delighted to be here.
I know the move's been in the pipeline for quite a while. You've been speaking to the manager and Paul as well. Are you excited to now finally got everything over the line and you're here today now at Windleshaw?
Yeah, definitely. I've spoke to a lot of people over the summer at all different levels, and for me, a part of life that I'm in at the moment, but I live very close to FC St Helens. I know Paul very well, who's obviously the chairman. So, and then meeting Mike as well and having a chat to him, we sort of aligned on where I see myself and he sees me as well, and the already brilliant job he's been doing probably over the last couple of years. So for me, it was I hate that saying, but it was sort of a no-brainer for me to come and be part of things.
Yeah. And just before we get into the details, obviously you've had a brilliant career. To get the fans to understand you a bit better, you are traditionally a number 9, but I know throughout your career you featured a lot deeper, especially in New Zealand. I think you were a 6 at one point in New Zealand, weren't you? So, and you've always played in them pockets and stuff like that. So what can you tell them about yourself as a player, first of all?
I think going through the youth team at Man City, it was always a number 9. I always was that sort of off the nine off the line type, and was a bit mixed. And as you gone older throughout the years, so I've always been a clever player through the pockets, like you said, and played majority of my careers and probably a 10. Still a running 10, still someone that still tries to get in behind, and then as again, because with age, as anything, I've played in midfield, I've played as a 6, I've played at Ratcliffe, I've played 3 or 4 different positions at Ratcliffe, and that is something I think that the manager can use and utilise, especially over the course of the season, is my versatility in positions.
Yeah, and you mentioned City there. You actually started with Prestwich Marauders, wasn't it, in your youth, and then signed for City at 7. What was that like as a child? You're a young lad, you've just been picked up by City, and that was the start of a very successful career in their academy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. I think, my dad's a United fan, so I always tell that story. I had to choose that Man United and Man City at the time, and I chose where I enjoyed my football. Yeah. As I've always sort of done throughout my career, I've always chose where I feels right for me, and that I will enjoy it. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
My nephew is now on that journey as well at Man City, so
brilliant.
It's done a full circle. So yeah, it's an amazing football club that gave me sort of my DNA who I am today.
Yeah. And I seem to remember you were part of that City academy, weren't you? Which, with so many players you've since gone on to have good careers, obviously yourself, Daniel Sturridge, Kieran Trippier, and Ben Mee. You came into the academy with Ben Mee, didn't you? At the age of 7, were you in the same age?
Yeah, we all the way through, me and Ben Mee. Yeah. So I'm delighted with obviously the career he's had as well, and it's so hard to be part of that system and come through and make a career for yourself. So any of the boys that have gone on to play league football in any sense, it's been amazing.
Yeah, and you developed with City. You played for the under-21s and the reserves as well.
Yeah.
And you scored and won the FA Youth Cup final, didn't you, against Chelsea for them?
Yeah.
Am I assuming rightly that was probably the first time you got a trophy and you were like, wow,
we won. That team was probably destined for sort of, they always felt like that team was the right team because they'd never won it before. So for us, we won the Night Cup and then the Night World Cup, that team. Well, the majority of the spine of that team, and then sort of that, as you added the likes of Sturridge and a few others and stuff like that, and then we obviously beat Chelsea in the FA Youth Cup, and that was the first time they'd ever won it. So it's nice. I've been there over with my work and my job, and to see some of the pictures in the corridors, it's quite nice.
Yeah. And as a player trying to break into the first team at City, it was a bit of a weird time for yourself, wasn't it? Because that was the time when they started building a serious team. Gareth Barry, Robinho, Balotelli sooner after when Mancini came in. What was that like for yourself? Because not only were you trying to break in with the likes of those players at the time, you also were coming back from a metatarsal injury, weren't you, at the time?
Yeah, no, it was, so Mark Hughes was probably the one that took a real liking to me.
Yeah.
He sort of took me everywhere with the first team squad, travelled, and then United was the first game at Old Trafford that got on the bench. But unfortunately, it was probably a week after that, I was in training and they did my metatarsal. And then unfortunately, again, football the way it is, Mark Hughes gets sacked, Mancini comes in.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money around the football club at the time, and they sort of changed the culture of what they were trying to do at that time.
Yeah.
And it affected probably a majority of our age group.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Studge was probably the only one that got through at that
Yeah.
got through and stayed through at that time.
Yeah.
So for me, look, at that time it's heartbreaking, but
Yeah.
you get on with it. You got to forge a career for yourself, and I ultimately did that.
Yeah, and the start of that was Swindon, wasn't it? You went on loan to
Yeah.
Swindon in 2010, got your first professional goal, made your first professional appearance, of course, and
Yeah.
that was your first time, wasn't it, amongst professionals and the physical side
it was
of the
a
game.
different. It was a different taster. You know, you go from training with Vincent Kompany
Yeah.
and players like that to training with lads that, you know, are on 1 year contracts, 2 year contracts, paying for the mortgages. You know, working really hard for what they do. And I was fortunate enough. I played with some great players in that team. You know, Matt Ritchie and
Yeah.
Charlie Austin
Yeah.
and people like that. Jonathan Douglas, David Prutton, who does all the Sky at the
Of
moment.
course.
So we had an amazing team, and I learned so much from that 6-month stint.
Yeah.
I learned so much about football as a whole.
Yeah. And you moved on permanently to Peterborough, high-flying Peterborough at the time
Yeah.
as well, wasn't it? But before that move, there was quite a few clubs after you, weren't there? And wasn't there something to do with Genk, with Vincent Kompany as well?
Yeah,
I remember hearing that story. Talk me through that.
No, so Vincent came to me, and he was great with me at the time in the club, and I think what you can probably see from where he goes to where he's managing and why he's such a good manager. He was a leader sort of back then, and you know, sort of put his arm around me and said, "Look, I think you're a good, great player. I think you've been hard done by. I've said some good things to the manager again. You know, go over there." And I was expecting my first Mason at the time, so I didn't do it. It's probably one of the biggest sort of, if I had a regret in football, I don't have many, but that was probably the one that I didn't go out and sort of pursue that a little bit. But no, it's hindsight's a beautiful thing in football.
Of course. And just with your time at Peterborough, obviously, I know you had a few loans in the second season with them, but you hit the ground running the start of that second season, didn't you, with them before the loan came about? Talk me through your time at Peterborough and also the loans as well.
So I went in there, again, hit the ground running, scored goals. Again, fighting with Craig McHale-Smith, Lee Tomlin, two top players that were probably at their sort of their height and of they're going to move on. They both went on to top moves, so I was fighting with them as probably the younger one underneath them. But I was scoring every week, coming on scoring. It was an odd one really. I started the championship season scoring. The chairman brought another player in, another striker in, then they wanted me to go out on loan. I ended up at Rochdale with my ex-coach, just because it was Sarah, my wife, was back up here. So it sort of fit for that month. I went there, scored goals, then went back to Peterborough, scored goals. It was just a weird season. And I ended up finishing the season at Derby, scored the last game of the season at Derby. So it was a really sort of it was one of the weird years, but I ended up with quite a lot of goals.
And you decided
across two divisions.
And after that time with Peterborough, you decided to come back up north, didn't you? Obviously the newborn and family as well. And that was the time, wasn't it, where they just sold Vardy? And you and a group of new lads were coming in and kind of morphing into one, as it were, you know, with that squad.
It was Fleetwood had obviously, Vardy had done extremely well. They'd done extremely well that year before, and Fleetwood was a club that were going, you know, we want to go again. So for me, that sort of suited me. It meant that I was in the northwest. It meant I was going to be sort of playing games every single week, which I wanted at that age. Then I was desperate to sort of play 90 minutes every single week, and I got that from Fleetwood. And you know, I set out to get promoted. We got promoted. Set out to finish as high as possible. We finished as high as possible. We finished third in one of the seasons in League One and nearly got out into the Championship. So by 1 point. So felt like we went there, and you know, and it was a really good journey, a really good part of my life, that one.
And a key moment, which I'm sure you spoke about a lot when you were with Fleetwood, was that Puskás nominee, the goal you scored against Preston, the equaliser. I mean, obviously, talk me through the moment, but then also the aftermath of that as well, when people started saying...
It's a funny moment. The only moment that I really like, one of the lads, Gareth Evans, was on the bench. I was on the bench for the game, and Gareth Evans was sat next to me, and I was like, well, I'm going to shoot from anywhere, guys. you know, and I'll come and celebrate with you if I do.
Yeah.
And anyway, the rest of that happened. Schumacher, who's one of my close friends, Stephen Schumacher, I just remember him just shouting in my ear, "It's the best goal I've ever seen." You know, like, so we still have a bit of banter about that today. But no, it was a great moment. You know, I always say if the Sky cameras weren't there for a derby against Preston, then it would have been another goal on League One. You know, just the crossover sort of thing. And so yeah. It's brilliant.
And it was, you know, alongside Messi, which is just some name to put in there, isn't it? Tevez as well,
exactly.
former teammate.
It doesn't. Yeah, I've got a little plaque in my trophy cabinet at home, and that says it with all the names. So it's a nice piece. It's a nice one. The kids still show it around at Jude's football, who plays Eddie, who's Paul's lad as well. They all show it. So no, it's beautiful that I can have that moment with them as well as my kids.
And you had a little song, didn't you, at Fleetwood that the fans like to sing to, the tune of Wonderwall by Oasis. Do you reckon we should teach the fans here how to sing that
I think so, especially after a win,
And towards the end of your contract with Fleetwood, there was a spell, wasn't there, where I think you came to the end of, was it a 3-year contract you had with them, and then you had a pre-season with, I think, Wigan as well, didn't you? But then you ended up signing on again for 2 years with Fleetwood.
Yeah, it was a really strange one. They were going in a different direction in terms of sort of financials at the football club at the time. I'd obviously had a good season. I'd pretty much agreed a contract and shook hands with a Huddersfield manager.
Oh, okay.
On a 3-year deal in the Championship, and that sort of fell through at the last minute with a new sporting director coming in, which was a big thingy because I thought I'd sort of think. Then I went away with Wigan. I sort of scored in every pre-season game, did really well, and they needed to get another lad out, and they were bringing Grigg in for a lot of money at the time. So it just didn't, for whatever reason, it just didn't fall. And again, it was, for me at that age, I just wanted to play football, and I had a great relationship with Greza. So we ended up going back in there.
I was going to say that the end of your career with Fleetwood was probably your most enjoyable, wasn't it? You had a good time under the manager, and your goal tally as well was the best you've had in your career, wasn't it? That final season with Fleetwood.
Under Uwe,
yeah. When your time came to an end with Fleetwood, you moved to Rotherham, played alongside Kiefer Moore, who was on loan at the time. Yeah. But then he left, and it was kind of on you then, wasn't it, to get those goals? You got promoted back to the Championship, and you nearly hit double figures with them as well. What was your time like with them?
Yeah, it was brilliant. We had an amazing group. It was a weird start for me because I picked up a sort of tendinopathy in my hamstring when I went in there, and I went in as probably one of the main men at the time. Kiefer had obviously done amazing, but we were still losing a lot of games.
Yeah.
So I think we were 16th, maybe 17th at that time at Christmas, and we went away to, I think it was Blackpool. It might have been November time, into Blackpool, and I scored 2. And we just went, me and young Jerry Yates at the time, we just went hell for leather, and I think we went 18, 19 games unbeaten.
Yeah.
And I scored and assisted a lot of goals.
I was going to say, at the end of that season, you kind of, the first half of the season, you were bottom of the table, weren't you? Relegation, and then second half of the season,
we just flew. We had a great team, the manager, everything that we were doing there. We always knew we were a good team. It was just a matter of time, and everything fell into place. And obviously, another promotion at Wembley, it was the best ones.
Yeah. And the pre-season that followed, obviously, I won't go into it too much, but for whatever reason, there was a time where, your fitness kind of went away from football for a bit, didn't you, before you went to Bradford? Bradford was the destination for you before New Zealand. What was your time like with Bradford?
Yeah, it was more, I came off the off season. I was still contracted to Rotherham at the time. I'd had my youngest son, my oldest son, had had an accident while we were away on holiday. It was quite rough. I didn't take time. It was quite the opposite actually. I went back in. I was sort of tucked back into it. Probably for me, it was quite tough on me at the time. Just with what had gone on, people forget you're human sometimes,
of course,
especially in the game.
Yeah,
because it kind of everything carries on. And I probably needed probably a little bit of support at that time, but I got through it. I've always been quite a tough character. I went to Bradford on loan. The manager who I signed for actually then got sacked the next day. So I ended up having 3 managers at Bradford. But again, a club that really I found a lot of love for. The fans there, probably the best I've played for. Absolutely amazing. And that was even in a relegation season. But I felt I did really well for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, really enjoyed that.
You had a good group of players there as well, didn't you?
We had an amazing group of players, but we just didn't. We just didn't there was too many different types of players and different ideas at the
Okay.
time. We had great players on paper, but it just didn't sort of glue together with the obviously 3 managers in a year. It's
of course, it's
at any level.
Yeah, and then there was a big change, massive change after Bradford went to New Zealand, Wellington Phoenix. What was the kind of when you went over there? What was the adjustment like first of all for yourself when you went there?
Yeah, I went on my own for the first 6 weeks. Then the family followed, so I went out to set it all up because obviously it's not an easy move.
No.
So then my wife, she stayed here. She sorted the house out here. No, for us it was something that I couldn't turn down as an experience as a family, but also football. I always wanted to play in a different country.
Yeah.
I was 29, turning 30 that year. I'd had offers to stay in League One, good offers at good clubs, but I felt like that was something I'd already done. I'd already been promoted out of League One twice. I sort of felt like that was, if I wasn't going to get Championship football, I wanted to do something different. And I went out there, and probably one of the best experiences I could ask for.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing football club, amazing people that I met there. Created every bit of history the club's ever created.
Yeah.
And yeah, came out of there with good reputation intact.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that history, because when you signed for them, weren't they the only professional club in the A-League?
Yeah.
So
in New Zealand, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, New Zealand club, the only professional club playing in the A-League. So was it the furthest away day? It was about 5 hours.
8 hours.
8 hours on a wow. Yeah. So what was that like? Adjusting
just into the time difference, even to Sydney was 2 hour time difference. So you normally wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning. You're waking up at 6.
Yeah.
It was stuff like that. I had to adjust quite a lot to. We also had COVID that hit. Then we moved in. We had to move to Sydney, so that was tough. But it wasn't tough actually. It was a great experience again. It was just tough for the kids, really.
No, of course.
Having 2 kids and moving about so much was probably the toughest part. But we had some amazing adventures and something really a whole day to my heart. I love the place. You know, I'm an England fan and a Kiwi fan at the moment.
Yeah.
So
And in terms of as a player, when you went over there, obviously the heat's a big factor. How was it adjusting? Did you kind of feel like you settled in quite quickly to that, or when you were playing?
No. I remember I played Sydney in a pre-season game when it was 38 degrees, and Alfie Lafondra, who was at Bolton, he played for Sydney. And I remember at half time, I was like, Alfie, I'm going to have to go home, mate. I can't do this. But like, I'm saying to people the other day, like the heat in the World Cup at the moment with the England team, and people go, the A-League, sometimes it slows down. I was like, yeah, it slows down. It's 38 degrees.
Yeah.
There's water breaks all the time.
Yeah.
So, and then you watch it on a wet Friday night in Melbourne.
Yeah.
It's quick. You know what I mean? So, great experience.
No, I'm sure. Yeah, it looks like you had a great time over there, and then came home. 2025 came home, played for Radcliffe.
Yeah,
played pretty regularly for them as well, weren't you?
Loved Radcliffe. Known the coaches, knew the chairman, knew a lot of lads there. For me, it was I could have stayed in it full time at the time, but for me, the transition sort of. I felt like it was time to make that sort of transition, and Radcliffe was a good place for me to start that and. Loved every minute of it. I played, I think, probably 3 or 4 different positions for Radcliffe. Got some good goals, got some good assists. Didn't miss a game. You know, pretty much was played in nearly every game. I think, bar one that I was still on the bench for. So great time. We had a really good go at it. We were third for majority of the season, and then we had a lot of injuries and we tailed off, but. Unbelievable group of lads and people at the football club.
Well, David, I think your footballing story is one that I think is just a really interesting story. You know, played in the A-League, nominated for the Puskas, got countless kind of promotions in the EFL as well. But today marks a new chapter for yourself with FC St Helens. Are you kind of what's success for you here? What are you? Success
for me is leaving. I always say, you know, I went to Radcliffe. We finished the highest they've ever finished in their club history. So if you leave a club in a better place than you went to it, then that for me is doing something right.
Yeah, and we alluded to them before, but the supporters, this is obviously going to be a sign that has them, rightly excited. What's your one message to them now ahead of the season?
I think it's come support us, get behind this. There's some fresh things happening. FC St Helens, come and be a part of it. Hopefully it'll be a great season. And if you're a part of it, and the lads, I'm sure I haven't met the lads yet, but I'm sure if you're a part of it together and as a group of lads, if you get behind them, we'll have a good season.
Well, David, a pleasure. Thank you for your time, and it's great to have you here. And we're really looking forward to seeing where things go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.